Welcome to the family farm. In this episode, we have some exciting news. I'm happy to announce that after months of browsing my latest addiction called Facebook Marketplace, we have finally found the perfect farm truck to help with some upcoming projects on the farm restoration agenda. Now, while there were more quote-unquote sensible options to choose from, complete with user-friendly amenities like air conditioning, heat, or even the modern marvel called power steering, I was looking for something special, something visceral, something with a bit more drama baked right in. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we found exactly what we were looking for. Say hello to our 1968 M35A2, also known as the legendary Deuce and a Half. If you were to look up the word utility in Webster's dictionary, you'd probably just see a photo of this truck because nothing defines a Spartan use case like an M35. But there's a method to its madness. This truck's design was all about simplicity, reliability, and just enough guts to get heavy loads to the battlefront. Weighing in at 13,500 pounds, this brute is outfitted with a turbocharged, multi-fuel engine that is designed to run off diesel, heating oil, kerosene, jet fuel, gas mixed with oil, and, if legends are true, moonshine, if you're lucky enough to stumble across a steal in these hollers and hills, but that's for emergency use only if the revenuers are on your tail. No need to waste the shine. While its power plant is exactly shattering records in the output department, and its top speed of 55 miles an hour on flat ground with a tailwind isn't exactly suited for speedy deliveries, we're in no hurry with this truck, since its road use will be limited to short runs to the nearest rock quarry or farmer's co-op. And the payload ratings on this monster mean we won't be worried about overloading anytime soon, with over 5 tons of capacity on highway with 2.5 tons officially on paper for the dirt, hence its nickname, Deuce and a Half. One of the main reasons we went with this truck was for its off-road capabilities. Thanks to the manual 5-speed transmission matched to a divorced 2-speed transfer case, which nets an insanely low crawl speed that is perfect for navigating the swampy areas of the farm with heavy loads. And if things get a little too slippery, just flip the switch on the air-actuated front drive axle for 6x6 mode, calling into service the combined 10 wheels of traction using those bi-directional military tires, which were apparently sufficient even for this Tennessee clay. Tight turns are a bit of a chore without power steering, but the proverbial wagon wheel they provided for steering makes it manageable so long as you keep your thumbs out of harm's way when the spoke snaps back on obstacles. In worst case, the air brakes do a great job of hitting the pause button while you adjust to the terrain, as long as they're properly maintained. In addition to all the boxes this truck ticks on our farm needs list, this particular unit has a little trick up its sleeve that absolutely sealed the deal on adding this to the family. A custom dump bed conversion using a 12-ton scissor ram driven by an electric hydraulic pump. And while it certainly isn't fast, it is functional and will be perfect for hauling gravel, wood chips, manure, firewood, logs, and whatever else needs relocating on the farm. Since these beds are usually flat mounted from the factory, I had almost overlooked this one as an option until my best friend Josh sent me the Facebook Marketplace link to this work of art. He and I have been dreaming of owning one of these trucks for over 20 years, so it was special for him to play a role in making this acquisition a reality. Thanks again, bud. While this nearly 60-year-old machine lacks just about every modern amenity out there, I've quickly fallen in love with its kidney stone crushing ride quality, free upper body workout steering feature, and the unapologetic roar with a hint of whistle from the turbo that leaves your ears ringing after a good drive. And even after the ride is over, the burnt diesel smell lingers, kind of like a more manly Axe body spray that just leaves you craving more. I've built and driven some amazing vehicles over the years. While I don't know how to explain it, for some reason, this is my favorite one yet.
Yeah, for a peaceful walk? Are you having a peaceful walk? Okay.
Oh, and while I do like the look of the factory tires, I'm already working on this Deuce's first upgrade, so stay tuned. If you have any suggestions on what to name it, please post it in the comments below. While I would love to play with the farm's newest toy, hay season trumps all other activities. So it was time to get back to the fields and finish our late summer cutting. After hauling in our most recent baling and getting it covered just before a rainstorm, we had to switch out the equipment again, removing the hay spears and reattaching the 40-year-old Fella disc mower. While we had just put fresh blades on this unit, they were ready for a little touch-up with a sanding disc to keep the fields looking good and reducing the strain on the old mower. Honestly, my dad and I were placing bets on which piece of equipment would go first, the mower or the old round baler. But hopefully they would both hold up, at least until we finish this round of harvest. After unloading another barrel of agricultural diesel fuel and topping off the Kubota, it was time to get cutting while our good weather window was holding steady. The next morning, just as we were heading out to continue cutting, my mom called to let us know that her Jersey heifer named Lilac was attempting to deliver her first calf, and things weren't going well. I'll go ahead and warn you now that if you're squeamish about deliveries and medical procedures on animals, you might want to skip ahead to the next chapter in the video. But this is all about real life on the farm, so here it is. Boy, some pretty steers. Just units. Big old unit, aren't you? After giving her enough time to attempt the delivery on her own, it became clear we would have to intervene and hopefully save the calf. Too much time in the birth canal drastically reduces the likelihood of survival and can cause complications for the mother as well. And so, after carefully rounding her up and locking her in the head gate, which was for her safety as well as our own, we began the slippery task of making sure the legs were aligned for the calf to deliver.
Let me see if I can hold pressure on it. That one foot.
If you would.
Get this way. You got it?
Yeah. I need to get it a little higher, but we'll pull it for a second. Good God. You could tell right away by the size of this calf's hooves that it was going to be a difficult process. To make matters worse, all the vets within driving distance were out on other emergency calls and could not come to our assistance, so we'd have to figure this one out on our own. With every minute that ticked past, my optimism about this calf surviving was slipping away as we struggled to get each leg freed up. Even with my dad and I both straining with her contractions, this massive fetus wasn't budging, and so, after some struggle, we resorted to our last option, the chain hoist, which is basically a hand winch. Honestly, at this point, we were just hoping to save the cow without too much physical trauma. I was already writing this poor fella off in the back of my mind as we began the final steps.
He's huge! Is he alive?
Yeah, let her out.
Is it alive? It's
Yeah.
alive.
To our surprise, there was still some life left in this massive calf, and so we sprang into action to try and bring him back from the brink. Usually we would let the mother take over at this point, but being a heifer, they sometimes are more confused, and those motherly instincts of licking and stimulating the calf just aren't firing. With her traumatic birth leaving her a bit shaken, we took over this job to get the amniotic fluids out of his lungs and get him fighting to breathe on his own.
Pick him up by the legs. I think it gets all the mucus out of his lungs.
Swing.
Swing. Watch out, guys.
Wilson. It's gonna slobber.
Okay.
Liv?
We're gonna hold this. Just don't hold it very quickly. Come on.
Stargazer is so cute.
After a few minutes of attempting to revive this calf, he finally realized it was time to start breathing air. While he's a long way from being okay, he's alive. Thankfully, the new mother snapped out of her confusion, and after a few sniffs, her motherly instincts began to take over, so we stepped aside to let nature work its course as the new mother and baby calf bonded. You got a pretty one there, girl. All right. Well, my dad is headed on out to do some more cutting this morning. I'm going to go ahead and start getting the baler ready for the inevitable that starts tomorrow. I had some issues on the last go around with this late season cutting. There's shorter pieces of grass. It breaks up easier and it gets into the belt area on this dated baler. So we got to go in there and pull all that stuff out before we can do another run. Otherwise, we're going to end up with some big issues. Plus, we need to sharpen his cutting apparatus for the twine, which has gotten dull and it's causing us some issues too. But yeah, let's dive in and get this thing taken care of. the chaff cleared from the critical areas and everything lubed for another round of baling, I backed in the shed and got the old 5610 Ford fueled up for another round of raking. This 1984 model was the backbone of the farm for 20 years, but the newer Kubota has taken lead since my dad added it to the fleet after his retirement. This old tractor has been in its own state of semi-retirement since then, and it's in need of some serious TLC to get it back into the fields full-time. In the last episode, we found a few of its weaknesses, including an axle cotter pin that sheared and unscrewed the whole wheel while it was making its less than triumphant return to duty. Since then, my dad also replaced the dangerous tie rod, so we're slowly making it field-worthy one step at a time. But there's a lot more to be done, as you'll see in later episodes. With everything prepared for baling, I headed to the field to check on my dad's cutting progress and take a turn in the Kubota's air-conditioned cab. After a few rounds in this field, I started to notice the tractor was really struggling to crest a small hill, which was confusing since it wasn't that tough of a climb. After a couple more rounds, the mower froze up and the belts released a billow of smoke as they spun on their pulleys.
Well, something about that hill has just smoked these belts. Now they're not wanting to stay engaged, so we'll see what we can figure out. And it wasn't even like it was binding up. Yeah, it is bound up. I was able to kick it free twice. That's what I'm thinking, because there was no hay in there when it smoked on me. Oh, it's this guy. He got nothing. Yeah, I was able to do that a couple times. Keep going. Maybe it's just got a burr of hay under it. See, I've done that twice. That's weird. Oh. Just bound up again.
I'd say parent that up.
And spin it a minute.
While we were hoping that this was just caused by some grass or debris under the discs, we found that even after freeing it up and engaging the PTO one last time, we had a much bigger issue. Now, in the past we would attempt a repair, but this mowing machine has been rebuilt a few times over the years and parts are getting scarce, being nearly 40 years old. So, my dad already knew his next plan of action.
So what does that process look like? So, you think this is it for the old fella?
I think it's old fella's shoddy wood.
How many years? 30?
Yeah, at least.
30-ish years? Not bad. Man. Well, go back to the barn, do some shopping.
Yeah, run down to Athens and get one.
Let's do it.
And so, we headed back to the farm with our tails between our legs to begin the search. But first, we needed to check in on our new mom and baby to see if they were okay after that difficult birth. I left a time-lapse camera on the little guy so we could see if he would get up on his own and nurse, but he was just too weak and probably too sore, so we would have to step in again to make sure he was getting some nourishment. Just as we were rounding up the family to help get some colostrum in his belly, the sky darkened and started to sprinkle. I didn't catch it on camera, but a massive crash of lightning and thunder nearby sent us running for cover under the equipment shed as a little microburst unexpectedly cut loose over our heads. The rain kept coming down harder and harder, which seemed to motivate the little guy to give standing up another try. So we watched from our shelter in hopes he would figure things out on his own, which is always better in the long run. Lilac had cleaned him up a little bit, but the rain was also helping to finish her job, so we didn't jump in just yet to see what would happen, not to mention the lightning that was keeping us under cover. Then, just as quickly as it began, the rain stopped and the sun poked its head back out again. So we dried off the freshly washed calf and gave him one last chance to stand on his own. Unfortunately, this guy would need some intensive care to get him up to speed, so we moved him to the barn and used some of the colostrum my mom had stashed away in the freezer for just such an emergency.
So you come back with you?
Yeah.
Rub him, get him dry.
Yeah, he needed a good shower because she never finished cleaning him. I was hoping the rain was going to get him up. It kept
He wanted it to.
stimulating him.
With a bed of fresh hay and a cozy quilt, we left him alone to let the rich milk do its job. We were all hoping and praying that this would jumpstart his will to live, since his chances of survival were still quite questionable. The next morning we headed out to buy something very rare for our farm. A brand new piece of machinery. My dad had done some shopping the night before and found one of the better deals around, so we loaded up the trailer behind his Ram 2500 and made our way to a farmer's co-op. After a little paperwork, we headed to the equipment shop to get a thorough walkthrough of our brand new Krone AMR 240.
Raise that canopy up and just change the blades or doing anything, if you don't latch it, I guarantee you it'll hit you in the back of the head.
This green beauty has a whole lot of improvements over the 40-year-old fella, including fail-safes that prevents catastrophic damage in the event of a bearing failure, which is exactly what happened to ours. If one of these discs freezes, it's designed to shear a pin and unscrew the top hat, which moves the blades out of harm's way of the still spinning sections. The old fella self-destructs. It also has a handy spring-style blade retainer, so there's no bolts to seize or lose during a blade change. Just use the included pry bar to swap them right out. Now that's a handy time saver. Built-in sight glasses for checking fluid levels, easy hydraulic speed adjusters, adjustable intake for taller grasses, and a beltless direct drive system makes it a simple design. This particular model is also 12 inches wider than the old fella, so we'll be cutting down our mowing time as well with an 8-foot cutting swath. Like two little boys with a new toy, we headed back to the farm to unload the shiny new machine and pay a moment of silence to the old fella that served us so well for decades. We might revisit this one in the future as an additional cutting asset if we can source parts and find enough time to dive into the complicated rebuild of the entire bar. But for now, we've got hay to put on the ground with more unpredictable weather moving in. As soon as we spun up this new mower, we realized we were working with a whole new deck of cards. I guess we'd grown accustomed to the fella's whines and groans and didn't realize how loud it had gotten as we now listened to this thing whisper as it slung its precision blades. Even the tall, tough Johnson grass didn't stand a chance against this unstoppable mower as it cut through it like a hot knife through butter. It was nice to know that we now had another solid piece in our fleet of equipment, and we were both grinning ear to ear and shaking our heads in amazement as we rushed to put the rest of the fields on the ground. After a long day of mowing, we were finally done putting nearly 40 acres of grass on the ground in this second cutting. Now, it was time to get it raked and belled.
Whoo-wee. It was a long day, folks. All right. Back to the farm. Little snooze. Then we rake and bale.
Sorry to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger here, but that's all the time we have for this episode. So make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on for the next part of the farm story. I can promise you that we're nowhere near done with the struggles of farm life as we nurse Lilac and her new calf. We've also got some exciting additions coming to pair up with our Deuce and a half that will make our big projects a lot easier. Oh, and if you enjoy the stories that we share here, then please consider supporting us on Patreon to keep the farming and overland adventures coming. We could not do this without our incredible supporters. Patrons, from the bottom of our heart, thank you for everything you do to keep us going. Until next time, remember to stay curious and leave the world a little better than you found it. Y'all come back now, you hear?